This is the Medicine Girl Podcast with renowned healing expert and registered nurse Robin Stebbins. Every week, we shine the light on new ways to heal your body from the root, ignite your inner healer, and tap into your divine wisdom. Begin to live harmoniously with your mind, body, and spirit. You are stronger than you think, braver than you realize. Now is the time to wake up and start living healthier, wealthier, and laugh out loud happier. And here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Medicine Girl Podcast. It's me, your host, Robin Stebbins, and today we have Travis Carper. So, Travis, I got to just say, I somehow fell into your Facebook page and was just so enamored with everything that you said. It just resonated to a higher level that I'm not at. I will say that. Like, I have so much to learn from you, and I love that. I love being in that place of curiosity. So if you can tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, and one thing I really would like to touch on is how you became so aware so early.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No. Okay. Just one of those, obviously now that we know, like stuff like, have your Kundalini Awakening. Mine was 2015. I'll talk about that. But right at 6 years old, I'm in this closet of turn of the century house. My parents lived there. Well, before they got divorced, but, I was in this closet cubby hole and I was 6 and I was like, oh, I can't do it again. It's too heavy. I couldn't have a reincarnation again. It was just too heavy for me. Anyways, but I had the hairs. So this is one of the supernatural experiences. So the hairs stood up on my back of my neck. And then I was like, I felt love, or it felt okay, but it also felt like me in the future. So kind of weird, but
that's cool.
I've always been one of those weirdos, nerd weirdo guys. Anyway.
We're not calling ourselves weirdos anymore. It's like, okay. People are listening. They're like, let's show us the guideposts. That's what they're asking now.
Right. Okay. So from there, so the next thing would be like, I'm 17, I'm working in this bakery, and I just basically asked my mom about like the paycheck and where's all this tax money going. I started crunching the numbers. That was kind of my first rabbit hole. And then slowly after that, I ended up like in metaphysical bookstores and looking at all these self-published or small press books, not by the big publishers, right? Because we all know that that's all owned. But so I did that somehow, and then also took myself to meditate in all these weird places. Like when I was in Seattle, I went up to Orcas Island, and I went to the Native American Indian burial ground and meditated there. Not, just did it.
Yeah.
So I've always done stuff like that, and never have I've kind of done water fasting and some other, instead of doing the plant medicine and ayahuasca and stuff. So I've already, I don't smoke pot, but it's, some people think I'm high all the time.
Well, we have I think the interesting thing that I've learned about that, like with ayahuasca or plant medicines, or name your plant, we have the receptors. And that's not specifically just because we want to communicate with the plant. We can turn those on by ourselves. We don't need ayahuasca. We don't need to throw up. We don't need that. For those that are really, really barricaded in their jail cell, those plants can be, working miracles.
Yes.
But for those of us that are already, like you said, I had my awakening, I think I was 3 or 4, and I saw and communicated with this light energy. And I always questioned everything. I was adopted. And so from the get-go and from the jump, everything my parents said was like, Nope. No, 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 no. I'm gonna search for the deeper meaning to all of this. And I know things. I know things that they didn't, but that, got me into lots of trouble. So I kept myself quiet until it's time to speak. Now, Travis, I think it's time to speak.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what we've been doing.
no matter what, let's go. So, encompassing your journey, I kind of want to start with this quantum physics, and I don't even know what you're talking about when you're like this
Astro particle physics.
astroparticle physics. That's what I want. That's what I want to get into.
Okay, and plasma cosmology a little bit. Anyways, it's just, yeah, it's space weather basically, and people are starting to get into space weather because there's a couple of YouTube channels that do that and stuff. But although I'm not, I know Ben's into catastrophe and stuff because he's kind of like, I don't know, for me, like I'm trying to, like, I look at everything. I go to like look at spiritual stuff. I look at people that can channel our benevolent space family. I look at, everything beyond all different sciences and all different, right?
Now even better.
So our solar system actually went around the whole galaxy already. So this is the cycle, or even biblically, or some of the terms in Revelations, even though that's a whole nother story. All the, religion stuff been rewritten and all those narratives. Anyways, so we've been around the galaxy. Also, 11,000 years we've been around, and we're back in what they call the photon belt, and it's just the toroidal field or the electromagnetic field of Alcyone. And Alcyone has that Pleiades system, star system, has like 7 different stars and stuff. So that electromagnetic field we are in again, and that, which means in like particle physics wise, we are in a higher vibratory energy, right? Higher frequency, right? That's what these particles do. So moving on, I'll show you another picture just in case, we're in there. And then what's going on and why this is popular, and everybody's using Tomsk Space Observatory, and they use this spectrogram, which everybody doesn't really, they just call it the Schumann, which it's not. Schumann resonances, not Schumann resonance, Schumann resonances, right? They're just measurements. They're Hertz measurements, and there's only like a dozen of them. And they're only between 3 and 60. You can look it up on Wikipedia even. Although I don't want to, Wikipedia is like very biased. But anyways, so this is just, everybody's using it because it looks good, and you can see what we call air showers. And you can look that up, air showers physics, right? And it is like secondary ionized particles coming into Earth's magnetosphere, and specifically ionosphere. And this is where we get into weird things too, because Dopplers and our satellites and our radio waves and all this go up into the ionosphere and come back down for them guys to measure things. So the Tomsk out in Russia, the Space Observatory, they put 224 ionospheric data stations together in a computer model, which the spectrogram represents. Okay, so it's just in hertz of what these secondary ionized particles are hitting the Earth. Okay, so, and I've been observing a lot of these graphs, spectrograms, since 2012, really, are really, really hard since about 2015. But so we can get into some of that. And so what is happening with the particle physics of it, or the astroparticle physics? Anyways, they're gamma chorus It's a radiation, actually. And so it hits us and our biofield, which I call the Biofield Physiology. You guys can call it chakras, your Merkaba, your aura, your biofield, right? Or your morphogenetic field. Anyways, it comes through into that template. And then if you are receiving it, if you are resonating with your consciousness high, and you and I are going to talk later about nutrition and holistic health modalities and stuff to help you ease more about just trying to get people familiar with some of the terminology in space weather and some of this vibrational medicine and quantum biology, magnetobiology, kind of beyond biophysics that you take in college. So we're going to try to just keep going with the terminology to get people ready for like medical, med beds and tachyon chambers. There's already the cosmotos or whatever. It's like a biofeedback little machine that can go. I don't know. It's on my Telegram channel and stuff, but anyways, that technology is already here, basically, and people are using it, and right. So there's all kinds of vibrational medicine, especially biohackers. And it's appropriate. There's like that one. I don't know. Anyways, it's on cosmotic. Yeah, cosmotic. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. I bring it up, but I don't want to mess up with the screens and stuff right now.
Yeah.
So. But
and anyway, we'll figure out all the links, so you don't need to be writing things down. I'll have them all in the show notes.
Cool. So so I'm just trying to get people familiar with that, because the electromagnetic universe, and why I go into this, because your avatar, your vessel, right, is mostly what I always say. Anyway, my perspective is you're mostly water and microorganisms held together by an electromagnetic field. So if you're mostly water, 80%, and we all know how water can be programmed, water holds memory. So think about how easy it is, like my dad, for instance, sitting in front of his giant TV all day. Like how easy is it to program a person? I mean, your brain's slushing around in fluids and stuff. It's like, so that's why, as an Ascension Health Coach or a holistic health coach, we always go, man, go take your shoes off and meditate out in nature, and like, because those EMF fields, right? Those natural ones, the circadian rhythm of the planet is connected to the cosmic, and you'll get that kind of natural sync up. So meditation, some kind of good water, because your body water. Right. You can live without food for 40 days, but you can only live without water for like 3 days. So obviously this needs to be replenished and recharged with water. So that's two. The third one you can do is like, obviously, eat healthy, right?
There's our segue to our next portion.
Right. Like food frequencies.
Yeah. So not getting maybe too far off track into the nefarious agenda.
Oh, right.
We've been poisoned.
Yes.
We have toxins in every square inch of our lives. So knowing that, and I can, if anyone wants to know where your toxins are, just private message me. I will help you reveal that. Okay. So what do we fuel our bodies with? How do we create that nutrition for our highest self?
Well, what I always say to my clients and to everybody, even on all my free videos and stuff, it's always, pull it out of the ground, off the vine, off the tree. And plus, because of the vibrations right there, right? Obviously, it's been documented with Kirlian photography, but also the soil-based organisms, or the good bacteria, right? Because this whole world's microorganisms, really, So we could get into
let's do that. Let's do that though. Like let's go back to this photography? Like explain to everyone what
Kirlian
that
photography?
is. Yeah. Yes.
Or where they can take the pictures of like food or your aura. Have you ever seen those pictures?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But what about the food?
Well, the same thing. It's when you pull like fresh fruit. I mean, think about it. And this planet of ours is so diverse. It's a library, living library, actually.
Yes.
It was, I mean, it is, and it can be really cool. If we're going to all go back to like, try to have a garden instead of a lawn.
Yes.
Permaculture, biodiversity garden, food forests.
Yes. And last of the buffalo, don't waste anything. Everything goes back into this cycle.
Yeah. So, so obviously fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff, right when they're picked, they have their energy because they've gotten the sunlight. So that's when you get into, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. And another thing is that the chlorophyll in that sunlight that comes through, that photosynthesis, right, for plants, right, is almost exactly the same. Because I took this cellular biology class from Harvard, and it's almost the same as our, I want to say, mitochondria, right? It's almost the same process, except
I can't be in my best element unless I'm properly having the right nutrition and filtered water, like no more poison. And I do say that, like, if you can see how it walked around or fell out of a tree or grew out of the ground, then it's okay. But since it's so complicated right now, it has to be organic. Dr. Zach Bush talks about how he was promoting this plant-based diet to his patients, and they were actually getting more cancers than the non-plant-based diet because it wasn't organic. They were ingesting these glyphosates, herbicides, pesticides, rodenticides. So best case scenario, grab a few, little raised beds and throw them in your backyard. If you don't have a backyard, you have a deck. I've got stuff growing on my upper deck. I've got stuff growing in my backyard. Just plant as much as you can. And if you don't know what you're doing, ask somebody. There's plenty of people that are plant people, I think especially, are more than willing to help.
Oh yeah. Go hang out at the farmer's market and shoot the
shoot the shit with somebody at the farmer's market and just say, hey, I need some help.
Yeah, man. There's, oh my gosh. In my videos, I have a video about medicinal fungi or mushrooms, right? And I'm like, I met this guy at the farmer's market, and he gave me the lowdown on that whole, the whole deal, even more than I already knew.
But that's what I mean. And I think for the next segue is we are Mother Nature.
Yeah.
We are this whole kingdom that we see before us, manifested in different cells. Talk, open your mouth, speak to everyone, ask questions, especially now, because I think our job, or at least mine, is to allow people to know there's a question to be asked. Ooh, what's this?
Oh, it's probably about the microorganisms or something.
Yeah. And that's what I just read too. Somebody was just saying, hey, let's not label bacteria good or bad. It's just bacteria, and when it's in harmony, like everything just keeps pounding back to that. When your microflora is in harmony, when the bacteria is in harmony, when you're in harmony, when Mother Nature's in harmony, things just flow. That doesn't mean, you have one sided coin and it's just heaven, but it's a flow state, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's why a lot of people just, even including me, have, the gut microbiome is very important, right? Fermented foods, yogurts, kefirs, all of that, right? Because like me, I had an overgrowth of Candida albicans, like a different bacteria, right? An overgrowth because if you're like drinking beers and sugars and carbohydrates and stuff, you'll get like some certain bacteria that only love sugar. So kids eating cereal and packaged foods, it's obviously not that good, especially later on with your bio, your body, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and let me ask you this question, because I've heard this a few times. People have said that overgrowth, let's say you're candida and you're just drinking beers or eating too much sugar, that can actually hijack what you want to eat. Like it can hijack
yes.
you as an entity.
Yes, because there's certain yes, totally, because certain hormones too kick in with certain foods, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Serotonins, melatonins, and that whole balancing system too, which it's almost all of it is made in the gut. So we're doing it right now, what we're doing, and especially with the internet and everything, this is actually one of the good things about it is we're connecting all across the world, and we're seeing, like, when you go and do research, you see people protesting over in countries and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're kind of protesting the same thing, that look, we need for the people, right? And we've got the resources sitting on the appropriate technology sitting on the shelves too. Free energy, Salvatore Pius. Go look him up. Salvatore Pius, the Navy just came out with all those patents, free energy, spacecrafts, all that stuff. I mean, it's there already. And we're going to, all of that, and then free energy and growing our foods and stuff and getting away from corporations that spray and kill us, that own everything, I mean, you go down that rabbit hole and you find out that there's 13 bloodline families that own the world.
Yeah. Yep. And the beautiful thing, though, is it's those of us that have been aware.
Down. Yes.
We're creating our own banking system. We're buying our own airlines.
Yes.
It's like, okay, so you have this social score, and I don't care. Yeah. I'm separate from it. I'm independent enough and I'm connected. Like no one's an island. So we connect now with one another.
Yes.
To create what's being created in front of us, not the old style of I'm going to use my brain, I'm going to figure things out. No, just listen, go into that stillness, and then see what's unfolding before you, and then go with that.
Yep, and I can give you a great example right now. I can give you a great example of the collective consciousness of the planet. Tiny houses. Okay. People are getting back into I'm going to do this van. I'm going to redo the van, or I'm going to build a tiny house. I'm going to get away from the mansions and the mortgage and the banks and stuff. That is actually happening around the globe.
Yes.
Right. So that gives you an inkling of how connected we really are, because we're noticing that, yes, our poles are drifting and stuff's going on, upheaval and stuff, and they want to get mobile and they don't want to be locked into a financial slavery and stuff too, so they can be more free and actually, obviously if you have more free time, you can actually study or do autodidactic learning or, use your brain.
Right.
If you're always working, and keep mortgages and houses and stuff, then you're just want to come home.
I call that the heads down. The heads down.
Yeah.
Mortgage and taxes and insurance.
Yoga's really popular too, which it leads right into, because usually it's attached to meditation, and that's getting popular in Western culture. So that's a good sign. There are good things going on. There's really a ton of good stuff going on. I mean, unbelievable stuff.
I think that's it, Travis. And what I really notice, there's no one-sided coin. And so when we look at this whole pandemic, it's easy to get riled up or irritated or feel like you're being threatened. But it is that beautiful side of the coin that's waking up this ascension.
Yes, yes.
We can use that word here. We are ascending. I can feel it inside my DNA. I feel it and I can see it.
Yes, yes. And our dormant DNA, or what they call, Wikipedia people, our junk DNA, which it's not. It's actually a template. It's in
No.
there. It's all already a part of our if you look into cymatics and all these other,
Yes.
anyways, our DNA is coming back online because the earth is actually shifting as well. We use the term ascension, but it's just shifting in frequency. That's why they use 5D,
Right. Yeah.
3D, 5D, 4D, all of these, it's just expansion of your consciousness and adding more energy. Whether you're adding more energy to the consciousness that actually animates your avatar, or you're adding more actually to the biological body itself. Because it's knocking around all kinds of electrons, right? And it going through your fascia tissue system, and it makes more molecules. It's redoing the template so that your body, just like a diamond, okay? Coal into a diamond, right? These crystals. That's what crystals or Christ consciousness, you're crystallizing this unity, this law of one, the law of everything is, all energy is conscious energy, basically. So everything is God, right? We're just the seeds, what star seeds we call, or units of God.
Or cells, or cells of God, or units, whatever distinction we want to put. But I think it's important to note, as we are evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen personally, this is nothing that we've ever seen before, Travis. This is not something that's been created before that we can look into, the Akashic records or anything that is what evolution is. That is what God wanting to know what God is as we move forward in this process.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see as this elevation, this what people are calling 5D, and part of my problem with that is it creates a hierarchy. I've heard people they're just so 3D right now.
Yeah.
You're just Travis, you're so 3D. I can't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. We don't need to associate ourselves with toxic people, love them from a distance, but at the same time, don't create hierarchies within what the ability that we have to communicate with one another. And then just know, the more into stillness I get, and the more I'm connected with what you said. If it grew off the vine, if it walked around or grew out of the ground, get that online and then see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that old saying, right? The Eckhart Tolle thing, right? Stay in the present moment of now. Or in my book, I call it live in the temporal now. And then the book that I wrote, 3 Decrees, it's live in the temporal now. What's 2? Choose love as your guiding force. And 3, remember your divinity. You are a multidimensional light being. You're actually energy. Just start off with the simple stuff, like in your own house. Like what's going on with my house? Where my environment that I'm living in, is it toxic?
I think, that's it.
Right?
Remove the toxins.
Yeah, right.
Remove the toxins, energetic, physical, emotional, social. So who am I hanging out with? What am I ingesting into my body? What is my spiritual practice?
Yes.
What am I listening to? Am I turning on the news? Am I listening to people, talk toxic nonsense? All of that goes into your energetic field. You cannot really tap into your full presence if any of those faucets are leaking.
Yes, exactly. You're right on, spot on. Yeah.
All of them.
That's the first thing. And that, because for us human beings, it takes 12 weeks to form any kind of habit, bad habit, good habit. But so, and when I have a client, we usually just do one thing that you can do first, and you add that. So you add a good constructive habit, right? So you go and you figure out I'm going to get this blender. I'm going to start making cool smoothies, like green smoothies, man. That way I eat more vegetables and stuff and high vibrations, right? And you start one thing, and then what happens is one of your bad habits will just fall away by itself. And so then you just keep doing that.
Brilliant.
And that's how you build upon this holistic health lifestyle.
But that's brilliant because again, if we look to the universe and what I do, I create that blueprint. The universe doesn't create vacuums. So it's not going to like take something out and then not replace it with something. It's instantaneous. With the problem arises a solution. It's just the way nature works. It's not favoring anything.
Law of coherence, law of attraction.
That's it. And so when you can get just down to the nitty gritty and just realize like no one's special. Travis doesn't like create this whole special universe because he's Travis or I create mine. It's just because we're here. It's just because we're here, we're breathing and we're understanding and we can communicate with one another, which is quite incredible when you really think about it. Like I am the universe expressing itself and able to communicate with your universe. Right? That blows my mind constantly.
What have you been smoking?
And I'm not even smoking. Cool. But here we are, like these two cells of the universe examining one another and saying like, what's your experience of this universe? And what's yours? And that's how we evolve.
Yeah. So I think both of us, for the audience watching, I think both of us would agree then the first thing is to alleviate some of those toxic elements in your life, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that, and add some kind of like healthy lifestyle tool or something and get on that track. I mean, start getting on that track because we're saying, and all of our clients and a whole bunch of other people are saying, because we're trying to get together into this unity consciousness, that if you clean that up, you clean up the hormones, you clean up and then your brain will operate better. It even operates better for meditation, actually. And yoga yoga was actually invented for longer periods of sitting. That's what yoga was meant for, to get your body prepared for meditation, actually. That's what it was for. And I'm so glad that it's popular now, because I only do yin yoga. Basically, I do athletic stretches. And then I do like my body weight training a little bit every other day. And then but every day I meditate, and every day I do yin yoga and meditation, which helps me. And sometimes I'm in the backyard, with my shoes off, and my neighbor's over there, making noise. But I put on like solfeggio frequencies, our binaural beats, right? Which is great now. I mean, there's so much support out there.
It's guys. Everywhere.
I mean, the YouTube channels with the meditation music now, and you get certain frequencies that you dig, and they go along with the certain chakras that you're resonating at and stuff. And it's, you just
that's it though. That's it. It's like, it resonates with you. Trust that. Like I do breath work. And the reason I do it is not because I have this like self-righteous hierarchy. It's because it feels so good to my being right now. Mm-hmm. And when something else comes into my periphery, I will listen to that. And I do yoga every morning by the water. I have to be outside. Not because I'm virtue signaling, because it just feels good to my soul until it doesn't. And then I'll create something different. Like that's what, a couple of rules. I don't have many, but one is don't fuck with Mother Nature. And the second is like, do what feels good to your soul, but you have to be able to listen to your soul. And it will always be different. Like there's no like hierarchy and there's no God above you. Like if we could just stay centered with that.
Yeah, man.
Communicate with
Yeah, that's why you take on these practices like on a daily basis. I mean, if people can get up early and go to the gym, they can get up early and meditate for 10 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes.
Yes.
Or before bed too, or whatever, like schedule the time for freedom. It'd be really
Ooh,
cool.
that's a beautiful statement. Schedule the time for freedom.
Yes, schedule the time for freedom, because remember how it was when we were kids and our inner child, when we just went to the park, laid down and looked at the clouds.
Yes.
And that's like smelling the roses. That's like that. And then it lets your imagination work. It lets both your spheres, your right and left hemispheres, connect and like work things out. You just lay there and your brain, you pretty soon your monkey brain is shut off and you're meditating without you even knowing.
That's it. It's effortless.
Yes.
You have to and then maybe we can have a part 2. But you have to when you get those intuitive hits, or when you feel that God presence or your downloads, take the action. That's the difference. Like, yoga is not going to do you do yoga. Like the same with everything else, like the same with any other download that you get. Practice it, create it. You are moving forward. You're made in the presence of God. Your eyes are forward, even though we get attacked from behind.
Yeah.
It's forward motion. Keep that motion going. Keep that momentum going. And then continually tap into that silence and that stillness.
Yeah, it takes work, man. Believe me.
It does.
I know, because sometimes I don't want to get out of bed and stuff. And then I'm like, but if, Trav, in my mind, if you stretch and stuff, and then you do a little bit of body weight training, your blood-brain barrier, you'll feel better. You won't be depressed. And that's one of the good parts. You don't need as many drugs or outside things. Like if you actually make yourself feel, there's the, self-empowerment right there. Like you make yourself
right there.
Feel good. And then you're ready for the day too. Like, and then maybe you have to wind down at night too, because it was all crazy out there.
But you're independent of the system. Like, I don't need to, like, where am I going to get my ayahuasca? Where am I going to get my marijuana? No, it's within. Like, I have those receptors. I can turn them on or turn them off. And not to say I'm not human. Like, I have my struggles, and I get in my emotions.
Yeah.
But I don't judge them. I don't say like that's a bad emotion and I shouldn't be feeling that. It's just like everything's welcome. Yeah. What's your message for me? You can stay as long as you like.
Yeah. It's like people that get older, right? They're not quick to judge as much because they've seen it all.
We've seen it all, and we've probably, been underneath it all.
And that's what happens when you start meditating and tapping into that intuitive and the attributes are, in spiritual terms, like the Mother, Father, God attributes.
Yes.
Right? The wisdom, your higher wisdom, right? That comes in, and then you're like, you don't need to judge. You don't need to point fingers at outside stuff, because you're still patience. Like, well, let's just wait and see what happens. Let me do my own studying. Let me do my own meditation first.
That's my dream, Travis, is like, and is to have everyone awaken to who they truly are, to their own power, to their own sovereignty, the agency over who they are. And then I want to hear, like, what do you have to say? Not the, the pain body or the facade or whatever else is coming through. That's not the true person, but it's, what is your soul expressing right now in this moment?
Yeah.
But that's the practice, is to get to that voice that you can now link up to. Yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah. Because there's a lot of trauma too to work through, and people doing their own shadow work and all that.
Oh boy.
And then actually, when you get tuned into that, then if you become an empathic person, which there's a ton of them right now, and they're feeling the collective consciousness that can mess with you if you don't realize that that's what it is. Right. So,
well, even if you do realize, because I succumbed to it a few times, it was just overwhelming. And I even knew intellectually, like, this is just the global consciousness of fear and the sky is falling. But at some point it's like, oh, I'm just tired. But allowing that to be like, okay, I'm tired. Just take some rest.
Yeah,
I don't need to solve this.
Yeah, rejuvenate and then shake that darkness
Shake it off
and like
shake it off.
Re-energize your I call it the biofield physiology, your overall
That's
energy.
That's it. And that's exactly the whole point, I believe, is tapping into that. Because then we can move from an authentic place.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, instead of coming from the lower three chakras. Oh,
if you're there, like that's fine. You know, do your work to motivate. And we've given you many, many pointers on how to do that. So Travis, where can people find you? I'm going to have every link possible in the show notes, but if somebody was just like, I gotta connect with Travis today.
Well, my website is 3 decrees, like statements, affirmations, 3decrees.org. And you can find all of my stuff there. And then all my other social medias, Facebook. I even have a Telegram channel because I started getting, the censorship, right, on my Twitter and YT channel and stuff. And so we put together what I like about Telegram and everybody else's Telegram is that we can actually upload real documentation and scientific papers and like videos and not just links, but and people can download from there. I mean, I have CDC reports from last year saying, COVID, SARS has never even been isolated. So, because on my channel, I go into terrain theory and stuff too.
Terrain theory. And even on the CDC, I just got to say this. They say that masks are not helpful for smoke particles.
Yeah.
The virus is smaller than smoke particles. So they've just basically outed themselves.
Well,
right there.
As soon as that thing began, I mean, in my mind, I just went, wait a minute. Okay, so the only people that do ever wear masks before this all happened are the people that scrub down and sanitize their surgery room, right?
Right.
So that they don't spit into
that's all it was.
Which is bacteria. It's got nothing to do with germs or viruses. The germ theory, anyways. By that way, anyways. So, or in a lab, they wear it because they don't want it to get bacteria into what they're working on. Exactly. So that's the only places that they ever wear those. Out in the real world, nothing is sterilized. It's all bacteria, microorganisms. In fact, once you go down this road, which we did, and we've gone, I mean, I've got so much documentation, it's unreal.
At least 1,000 hours in.
Oh, all you have to do is read. All anybody has to do is actually read the Freemason Louis Pasteur's journal.
That's it.
In the journal, he admits it's all virology is basically a fraud.
Yep.
So, anyways.
No, but that's important to point out on the closing in is that can take away the fear.
Yeah,
when you're not poisoning your body. You can't, like, they try to infect people with the Spanish flu by injecting mucus into their nose. From an infected person, they inject it into their nose, their mouth. They couldn't infect them.
Right.
No matter what they did. So that's it. Like, tap into actual knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's so 1918 is so documented. Yeah, it's unreal. All of it's all out there, and out there. You just have to read and then talk to people too, like not just me, like a holistic health coach that's been involved in like healthy stuff all their life, but
sure,
there are like people that are, that know their stuff. I mean,
Well, Dr. Zach Bush, Dr. Thomas Cowan, those guys, boom,
there you
mic
go.
drop there. And they have a clear voice. They don't have an agenda. Some people, I think, get a little in the fray. And our job is to have our discernment and like what resonates to me. But that's for another discussion. Hopefully I can get you back on here, Travis, at some point. Like you are brilliant. You have opened the door for so many ideas that I want to explore. But thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for having this conversation with me, for illuminating other ideas and how we are moving forward out of fear.
Yes, definitely. And thanks for getting a hold of me. Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can have you back on someday.
I'd love to. Maybe I'll have some more, more.
I'll hold you to it.
More clarity.
Good. Well, clarity is happening.
I mean, so that I could like explain a little bit better about,
I feel,
how the astral particle physics, how the gamma rays actually transmutational and how they affect. I mean, I do have like a blog on the website and and the YT channel. I have a YouTube channel. Like,
yes, I saw that. That was really good.
Yeah.
No, but that just lit me up because I want to say this too, Travis, is that when I saw you meditating in these, beautiful music and you're out in nature, that's what I've done. But I only take pictures. I didn't take the videos. And when I saw the videos, I was like, that's it. When you post those videos, people see how to have skin in the game. When you just have your head down, you're going to work in the gym and you don't understand this planet's worth saving. We're saving, meaning we are the planet. Your videos lit that up for me.
Cool.
So thank you for that too.
Hopefully that was the point. That's why I was like, okay, look there's a guy riding a bicycle instead of driving a car. Like I don't own a car. I've only owned a car like maybe 2 years out of my life. And I ran biodiesel in it. I ran B100, but that's another story. But at 56, if I ride my bike to the store to get my groceries, I don't even have to go to the gym because I just don't own a car.
But that's it. That's it. We are now connected to source.
Yeah.
We are everything. It's like what I say, the last of the buffalo, the Native Americans had everything, so many things right.
Oh, totally.
But they didn't waste anything.
Oh, completely. Oh,
so you don't go to the gym and run on a treadmill. Like, where is that energy being divested to? Ride your bike or, power up some Nikola Tesla energy source with your treadmill running. Anyway, we could probably go on a million different topics. Travis, thank you so much for being here. Namaste. And deeply
Blessings.
Grateful for you to be on this planet at the same time I am.
Yes, I totally agree. Yes, you too.
Thank you, Travis. Take care.
Okay.